everyone. This is Victoria English, top coach with Project 90. Thanks for tuning in today. I live in Denver, Colorado now, and it is a glorious fall. I think the prettiest since I've lived here. I moved here about six years ago, and a friend and I were chatting the other day saying that Mother Nature is just showing off at this point because the trees are just exploding with color, and we're getting some crisp weather, starting to break out the sweaters. It's a really nice change in the air. Today, we are going to talk about change in the air because, once the temperatures start to change, it's just about holiday season. It'll be here before we know it. And there's some questions that go along with that, right? Around our drinking. Is now a good time to take a break from alcohol? Let's talk about that. But before we get to that, let me remind you that here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle, we have put together some wonderful freebies for you. You can snag the Alcohol Freedom Formula for free. James has put together something just fantastic for you. It is really worth getting in touch with us and getting that free download. You can get that at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide, or text us, text the word guide, GUIDE, to the number 44222 in the US only. If you are a high performer who is ready to get long-term control over alcohol, not just this week, not just next week, but some serious long-term control, then you can speak with me directly about possibly joining Project 90. Schedule a call with me at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule, or text the word Project 90. That's one word. Again, the number is 44222, US only. Once you book it, I will give you a call. Remember, this is for high performers who are ready. I know what it's like to have control in so many areas of your life when you're a high performer, when you're used to getting things done, and yet this one thing is like a monkey on your back. I know because I was there for years. If you tuned into another episode of mine, I talked about how it can be especially challenging for high achievers like us to find freedom. And that's why we're here at Project 90. So let's get started and talk about the holidays and alcohol. Growing up, we kind of are inundated with that messaging, right? Alcohol, holidays, they go together like peas and carrots, peanut butter and jelly. But if you're listening to this podcast, you're starting to question, do they go together really well? Maybe they used to. Boy, I had lots of good times drinking when I was younger. I'm still young, only 51. I'm just gearing up. But, lots of fun times with my friends. And that's okay. But as I went on, as my drinking continued and I got into my later 30s and then my early 40s, it wasn't matching up. When you were growing up, do you remember that, what was that cheap champagne, the Asti Spumante or something, the commercials where they showed the beautiful glasses and the twinkling lights and the champagne was shimmering through, the light was shimmering through the champagne, and these glamorous looking people were clinking their glasses and laughing. It looked so wonderful. And so that was just one of countless ways that we received the message that during the holidays, in order to celebrate, you drink. Not only that, but who isn't ready to blow off some steam at the holidays? Boy, especially after last year's holiday season, everyone was stuck at home. That was tough. So, when you want to blow off steam, what do you learn? Have some drinks. And what about something that I think most people experience, some more acutely than others. What about the feeling of loss or regret, or even just bittersweet that occurs during the holidays? You may remember years gone by when you had people with you who are no longer around. Maybe something happened recently that causes you sadness or even anger, resentment. As a mother of four, three of my kids are in their 20s, and my youngest is a teenager already. So it's only natural as I'm getting gifts, which, there's no more Fisher Price or anything like that. My older kids laugh that their favorite present is green on the inside, green on the outside, cash. I look back on those days when they were little and all of the traditions and the excitement, getting them to bed, putting the cookies out, the reindeer food. Did you guys ever do that? We used to mix together edible glitter and nuts and carrots and put it out in the yard for the reindeer. Those are bittersweet memories. They're wonderful, but it's time none of us gets back. If you've used alcohol for celebrating, for maybe covering or numbing some difficult emotions, it's only normal that this holiday season could be bringing up some anticipation of that. And yet, like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, you're wondering, is it doing the trick anymore? Does alcohol really make me enjoy celebrations more? Has it helped me feel better about anything that I regret or that I've lost or that I am angry about? And those bittersweet moments, well, they just are what they are, I guess. Does drinking help me manage those emotions? It stopped working for me, but I felt stuck on a lot of levels. How do you go to a party without drinking? How do I tolerate uncomfortable emotions? It's hard to do. And I wonder if you've tried it before on your own. The secret sauce in Project 90 is our community, because James has done an absolutely brilliant job of attracting the same sorts of people, in that we all pretty much have our act together, at least on the outside. There may be some frayed edges or a couple of cracks in the facade, but for the most part, we've got it together. We know how to do things, even hard things. But everyone in our community has that commonality, aside from being a high achiever, in that each of them can't figure out what the deal is with alcohol. What is the deal? Why can't I control this one thing? We get into why. We get into why it's so hard and why the only real solution is to find freedom from it. And we help you do that. We help you navigate those social situations, showing up with a Pellegrino instead of champagne for yourself. Since we're talking about nostalgia, I want you to think back on last year's holiday season. Now, granted, it looks a little different because chances are we were home, not as many parties, but still, if you're listening to this, you have enough Christmases or Hanukkahs or whatever you celebrate, Thanksgivings, New Year's behind you, to think back to your drinking patterns. Last year, the year before, maybe the year before that, were you anticipating changing your drinking during that holiday season? And how did that work out? Did it work? Were you able to get it under control and moderate? Or did you wake up on yet another holiday morning with a hangover, head aching, stomach nauseous, dry mouth, and the worst, the regret, the shame, the broken promises, again, to yourself, maybe your family, Here's a hard truth. I may end up on your naughty list for this one. If you could have changed your drinking habits last year, the year before, maybe the year before that, you would have. They would be long-term. You would have created a long-term change in your life, in which case you probably wouldn't need to listen to this podcast. And here's the other hard truth. A year from now, it's very unlikely they will be changed alone if you do this by yourself. Because like I said, if you could have done it by yourself, you would have, because you are a high achiever. You are a go-getter, someone who gets things done. You would have gotten this done. Drinking doesn't operate like other things. So a year from now, if you don't take this on now, it's likely that you will drink more than you do now. Those are just the facts. That's the nature of alcohol. It's not a static situation where you drink the same way you did 5 years ago as you do today. You drink the same way 5 years from now as you do today. It usually progresses. I hear stories of that unicorn out there who used to be a problem drinker and can now have one glass of champagne at a wedding. Okay, I haven't met them in real life, but how often do we actually meet unicorns in real life? I know that's tough to hear, especially for high achievers, but it's okay. It's not your fault. Alcohol, like I said, has its own agenda.
Hi, this is James Swanwick with a Save the Date announcement. Our annual retreat is taking place on January 19, 20 and 21 of 2023 in the country of Colombia, just outside of Medellin, Colombia, in fact. If you have always wanted to visit Colombia or you fancy a January trip abroad, join us at our annual wellness weekend where we will have speakers, hiking, breathwork, and lots more. We did our annual retreat this year, 2022, in Austin, Texas, and 2 years ago before the pandemic hit, we had it in Los Angeles, California. Now, in 2023, we're going international. So if you would like to join me, our top coach, Victoria English, and a whole host of Project 90 clients, past clients, and prospective clients, and you want to bring your family or your spouse, and you'd like to join us in Medellin, Colombia, January 19, 2021, then send me an email to james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com and just put in the subject line Colombia. By the way, you spell Colombia Colombia. Most Americans like to say Colombia, Columbia, but the correct spelling is Colombia, Colombia. So if you email me at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com with the subject line Colombia, we will save your details, we will send you details and put you on the wait list, and in a couple of weeks from now, more details will be made available. Hope to see you just outside of Medellin, Colombia. Let's get back to today's episode.
You know, another reason that you may just want to consider starting this 90-day journey now instead of after the holidays is stress. Boy, oh boy, how many times have you been shopping last minute, hoping the delivery arrives? Which, by the way, I'm sure you're all aware of the shortages and the kinks in production and delivery. This year, more than ever, ordering last minute is not a good idea. So you're ordering last minute, forget finding any bargains. So you're going to spend more money. Also, when you're operating at a 6 instead of a 9 or a 10, can you really be thoughtful about the gifts you're buying? Or are you just hurrying to get something? Or even worse, are you overspending to make up for the shame or embarrassment or broken promises? I've heard that one a lot in our coaching calls. Oh, I spent way more than I should have because I felt so bad about things. That's a tough one. Doesn't have to be that way. Imagine waking up each day between now and New Year's, feeling fresh, feeling rested, without that nagging shame and the feeling of, oh, I did it again. And oh, how am I going to make it through the day? You can also reduce the stress of the family conflict. Did you know the day before Thanksgiving is nicknamed Blackout Wednesday? People, that's when they drink the most out of any day of the year. I was surprised. I was thinking New Year's Eve, but nope, Blackout Wednesday. What a name. No wonder there's so much stuff that happens on Thanksgiving Day. You see a lot of bad news after Thanksgiving. And even if it doesn't make the papers, we've all heard about family conflict going on. So-and-so had too much to drink. So-and-so started an argument. So-and-so did this. Oh, maybe you were the so-and-so, huh? Imagine not doing that. Now, I know that families have conflict. I know that there may be members of the family or friends that you're not crazy about spending time with, or maybe you're missing a family member. That's going to happen anyway. Alcohol will exacerbate those feelings. If you have a tiff with somebody, do you think you're going to be able to gloss over it by drinking? Be able to ignore their snide comments? Or are you going to tell them what you really think? And how's that going to taste over pumpkin pie? Pretty bitter. Or the next day when people remind you of what you said or did. Also, think about modeling. What are you modeling for the people around you? What if you have younger people seated at the table? Do you want to show up and model that behavior? That drinking starts early in the day, and by the time the meal gets on the table, everyone's fuzzy or drunk, not making a lot of sense. Those little eyes are watching. That's a tough one to swallow. Believe me, I've swallowed it. And it's okay. It's okay. Because again, we grew up with these messages. So it's all right. When you know better, you do better. And deep down, each of us knows better. How about looking better during the holidays? I did an episode recently on alcohol and aging. I don't know if you caught it, but there was some powerful stuff in there. I just turned 51 last week, and it feels good to know that, yes, we are aging, but I'm not, as I said last week, I'm not giving Father Time a fast pass to march across my face. Alcohol is very inflammatory. You guys know this. Waking up, looking in the mirror, the puffy face, the bloodshot eyes, broken capillaries. Oof. It's tough to see that in the morning. And then if you have to get ready for a party, alcohol makes us puffy, makes our clothes feel tighter. Not the best way to enter a room. And again, it's not about physical appearances. It's about feeling good in your skin. When I walk into a room, even if I've got some social anxiety or discomfort going on, at least now I know that I'm showing up feeling fresh and my eyes are bright and clear. My speech is clear. I'm not repeating myself. I'm not laughing inappropriately or forgetting people's names whom I've met in the past. You might lose some weight, might fit into that pre-COVID outfit, right? The thing is, we know how drinking turns out. It's one of a few ways. And are they really good anymore? Are you waking up the next day just bent over laughing about the antics? I used to when I was 21 in a sorority, cracking up with my girlfriends. I wasn't in my 40s. And if you're listening to this, I'm guessing you aren't either. So like I said, next year, well, this year, let's start with this holiday season. You know how it's going to go. And yes, there are some challenges. Like I said, dealing with uncomfortable feelings, maybe being around people that you'd rather not spend that much time with, maybe some financial stress, family conflict, a loss, wondering how to celebrate without alcohol, right? Celebrate the good stuff. That's why you have us. That's why you get coaching calls. That's why you have community of like-minded people. So yeah, there are things to manage and deal with, but it's not wreckage like you deal with after a night of drinking. It's new stuff with a community and coaches to help you along the way. I hope that you will make the change this season. I hope that you will give your family and friends, and most importantly, yourself, the best gift possible. If you listened to my podcast interview a couple of months ago with my dad, Bob English, you may recall that he was a very heavy drinker when I was a child. And one Christmas Eve, it was the usual Christmas Eve, and he asked me, "What do you want, honey?" in his Christmas Eve voice. And I said, "Daddy, I want you to stop drinking." He said, "Okay." And the next day, as he lied on the couch, hung over, I knew the look, I knew the smell. He said, and I had opened all my gifts with him looking through one eye, kind of on the couch. He said, "Honey, what was your favorite gift?" And I said, "Oh, what you told me last night. And he said, "Oh, what did I tell you?" Well, my dad thankfully did stop drinking a couple of years later. I'll never forget that memory. I'll also never forget celebrating his 1 year alcohol-free with him. I've had now 40 more years with my father, and he's going strong at 83 years old. And when I was in college, I wrote a letter to my dad. I've never wanted for anything from my father. He's a great dad. And I said, "Dad, the best gift you ever gave me was the day you stopped drinking. I've had some really nice presents, but I've never had a gift that compared to my dad making that decision. It changed the trajectory and obviously extended his entire life. He's influenced so many people, but he had to do it first as an inside job with the help of others. My dad's an entrepreneur, community leader, and he needed help doing it. So again, go ahead, get online, go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide, get your free alcohol freedom formula, text the number 44222, text the word guide to that number, or schedule a call with me. alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. Text me Project 90 at the number 44222. I'll give you a call. Let's see if you're ready. Let's see if you're a good fit. I think you're ready. I know you're ready. Just go ahead and go for it. See what's on the other side. You can always go back to drinking. It's still going to be there. They're going to sell the stuff, but try it out. See what it feels like to go through the holidays like this. Thanks for listening, and I will see you soon. Again, this is Victoria with Project 90. Chat with you soon.
Hi there, this is James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you would leave a review. That will help us climb the rankings and get our show exposed to so many more people who could really benefit from the content. You can do that by going into Apple Podcasts, rating the show, writing a little one-sentence summary, and posting it. That would be so amazing. Thank you. Likewise, if you would like to schedule a 15-minute exploratory call and apply for our Project 90 program, then you can do so by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. If you'd like to get the free guide, that is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Our YouTube channel is at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.